With the Georgia Bulldogs, you're gonna feel the bulldog.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thornton.
Boom!
And
whoa, man, baby.
This is show 101. Welcome back, everybody, to Row 60. Merry Christmas. We hope you had a great holiday season, but now it is time to get focused on the big one, Georgia versus Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl.
In the Sugar Bowl, Clark. Love the Sugar Bowl, man. If you grew up in the South as a Southern college football fan, man, the Sugar Bowl is nostalgic, man. The Sugar Bowl was the pinnacle, especially during the pre-BCS era, which me and you don't remember. But I mean, you read about it in the history books that you learn as somebody young in the South, man, that the Sugar Bowl is nostalgic. The Sugar Bowl is a big deal, whether you're in it for a national championship, a playoff game, or just regular Sugar Bowl. But hey, fortunately this time, Clark, it's for a playoff game and a chance to go to the national championship, man, and continue that quest to get to Atlanta for the national title game. And it doesn't get any bigger than this. The stage is set, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's go. This is why we love Georgia football. Blessed again to see another Georgia playoff run, Clark, and I'm ready to go, man. Yeah, I mean, Christmas time, it was great, special. Hope everybody had a great time with family and friends. And but now, hey, it's time to get focused and fired up once again for Georgia football and another Kirby Smart playoff run, baby.
It's going to be great. Man, we got a fun episode on the horizon. First off, Adam, what'd you get for Christmas?
What I got for Christmas? Oh, man, I got a M12 Milwaukee drill driver set, you know, kind of the stubby impact wrench and hammer drill that Milwaukee has in their M12 line. And I also got a DAWGS tool bag to carry stuff in for work, man. So, yeah, I mean, it was good. The big man was he was good to me. Good to me. Old St. Nick was good. How about you, Carl?
I got a Carhartt jacket, and it's nice and big and rainproof, and it's going to be great. It's nice and warm, and exactly what I needed. And then, you know, it's just interesting how as you grow older, you just want less in life.
Yeah.
You want more Georgia football national championships.
Right.
You want less toys and that sort of thing.
You want to give more, man. Yeah,
That's
I mean, and you're about to experience it here with a child. But Callie was at a great age this Christmas, man, and she got a baby doll this year that the thing talked, Clark, and it cried.
Really?
It cried,
Ooh,
and you could put it
creepy.
to sleep, and it wouldn't stop crying. I couldn't get it to stop crying with Callie, and I mean, it got to the point there where we had to. Thankfully, I did some digging because I didn't know how to make it stop crying.
Right.
And there was an on-off button in the back that I was able to turn the baby doll off for a little bit, get some relief from the crying baby doll, and Callie still played with it and enjoyed it. And then, of course, turned it on later for her to enjoy it. But, you know, you got to take it periodically with a crying baby doll like that because it's something that it can get on those nerves fast if you don't make it stop crying. But, I mean, she was able to, you could put a bottle in it and it would pretend like it's drinking milk.
Wow.
It'd go to sleep. Its eyes would close. And it was a wild experience. Kelsey, my wife, says that this particular baby doll has been around for generations. Just now, this specific one is able to do all these, you know,
that's crazy
or whatever.
So does it does it defecate?
What?
Does it poop?
No, you can fill it with water and it'll cry and urinate.
Gosh. Okay,
and
so
you
literally, wow. Oh my gosh, I might need one of those baby dolls
in preparation. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I've only changed
trial run, man.
I've only changed about 3 diapers in my entire life, and they're all for my little nephew Gaines. Now I will say the 3 I changed were really bad. So I mean,
You'll be good, man. You'll be fine. It's a natural instinct that kicks in, man. I mean, you don't have to worry about it. Everything in life is about the attitude you have facing it, man.
That's a great
And
point,
the way you are, Clark, you will be fine. And, you know, I always tell this people now that I am a parent that is just about to experience fatherhood or motherhood, but especially fatherhood because obviously I'm the male, can relate. And that aspect, man, is you hear all these people like, oh, you'll never sleep again, yada, 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 yada. Man, don't listen to that. You'll be great. You'll love it more than anything in life. And natural instincts kick in, man. And you do great. And, you know, and it's something that it's a blessing. It's the biggest blessing you could have in life. And we're excited for you about it, Clark, and you're going to be a great dad. Yeah. And Caitlin will be a great mom. So it's going to be great.
Time's ticking. There is literally, like any minute this could happen. And I literally have my phone just on beside me, unmuted, just in case anything big happens. And We got to rush out of here. But
That's right.
anyway, enough about that. Let's talk
Back
about
to
some
business,
football.
baby.
On the
ramped
show,
up.
we're going to have some Clark's fun facts. We've got some first round results we'll talk about very briefly. That's kind of old news at this point.
Yeah.
We're going to preview Georgia versus Notre Dame, the Sugar Bowl in depth, talk about some history. Adam, I know you got, what was it?
An ode to the Sugar Bowl.
ode.
What Dr. David Phillips, what did he send us? What was that big word he sent us? That,
I don't know.
No, that's the one I attempted that I got wrong. Let me pull up Dr. Dave's text just real quick. You continue, and I'll find this.
We've got Notre Dame's offense versus Georgia's defense, Notre Dame's defense versus Georgia's offense. And then we're going to talk about some quarterfinal games also happening this upcoming week with Georgia and Notre Dame. So,
Yeah.
And then at the end, I think we'll do a little prediction segment where we give you our final four teams.
I'm gonna do a soliloquy. I think that's pronunciation.
soliloquy?
That's what I think that's what the word would be.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, but basically a tribute post.
Okay.
Or not
Love it.
post, but a rant, so to speak.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited. This ought to be a good show. Ought to be a good show. So wherever you're at right now, baby, turn that dial up about 5 notches and let's let it rip, baby.
Let's do it.
Woo!
All right, let's start with some Clark's fun facts. Georgia ranks 3rd all time in Sugar Bowl appearances.
Absolutely, man.
Do you know the other two?
Alabama would
For
be
sure.
number 1. Alabama would be number 1. Shoot. Arkansas, Tennessee,
Good
Florida.
guesses. Good guesses.
Florida. I'm missing a big one, I'm sure.
It's a in-state team,
It's an in-state team.
as in for the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, LSU.
LSU,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I keep forgetting about them. It's weird. Every national championship they've won since their first one, I guess, in 1957, has been in the Sugar Bowl. The 03, the 07, and the 19 one, man. That's crazy. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, so Alabama is number 1 in Sugar Bowl appearances with 17. LSU is at 13, number 2. And then Georgia ranks, once again, 3rd time all time in Sugar Bowl appearances with 12. This being the 12th we're about to play in. So this is, we've been here before.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's crazy fact about LSU. I mean, yeah, I remember those, the national championship ones that they were in here recently this decade, but I don't remember really any in the 90s. And maybe they had one in the 80s, maybe in like 85. So that must have been like back in the day, like Billy Cannon and all them guys, like in the 50s and so, when they really piled on some numbers in the Sugar Bowl. But hey, being number 3 in that list, that's special. It's historic, like I said, and I'll allude to later on in the show. This game is huge, and for people who don't know the history of the Sugar Bowl, especially what it meant before 1998, and even after 1998, it's always a big game and it's a special venue, man.
For sure. ESPN pays a whopping $55 million annually to broadcast the Sugar Bowl. Is that not insane?
That's crazy, man.
That's
crazy.
a lot of
That
dough
is,
right there.
That is.
Speaking of money, Adam, I was mentioning this to you just a minute ago. I bought some lottery tickets for the Mega
Yeah.
Millions. It's
Okay.
literally up to $1 billion at this point. Granted, after taxes, I mean, you're looking at maybe 500 million.
Yeah.
Which I think I could do a little damage with 500 million.
Do you think you might could slide me $1 million? Maybe if you win 500 million, it might could just give me $1 million.
We'll see. No, I'm just kidding. What would you do, right quick, with 500 million bucks?
Georgia would be kings of the NIL program.
Yeah.
And Kirby Smart wouldn't make a decision that didn't go through my desk. That I would personally have an office in Buttsmere building.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you dang right.
Would you have,
yeah.
a name plaque that says Adam Thornton?
The money man.
The money man?
The bag man. It's the bag man. Yeah.
Money bags.
Oh yeah. I would be me and Josh Brooks and Kirby Smart and Jerry Moorhead would be yeah. I mean, and I would give some to the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences at the University of Georgia. They
Okay.
would have the biggest funds of any school on campus. People in Terry would be jealous of what the College of
Ooh.
Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, the school I attended at the University of Georgia, would be, but then the rest would go to the University of Georgia football program
Yeah.
and the NIL and transfer portal stuff, and make sure that we have the talent in Athens and give Kirby and the staff what he needs. But yeah, I would have my office though in Buttsmere
I love that.
just to come in and out.
Would you
casually.
get well, you would have to negotiate a deal because season tickets work really weird in Sanford Stadium, but you would have to negotiate a deal to secure our current row 60 seats.
Oh yeah,
forever,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Man.
Just
And,
making sure.
Absolutely. So do that, and I don't know, but yeah, outside of that, I would probably buy more land and cows.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
good investment.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway,
Would you get some chicken houses?
possibly get some pullet houses, man. They wouldn't be as high strung maintenance as broilers or hens, and yeah. So I mean, yeah, probably so. So I mean, along those lines, man. So that's what I do. How about you, Carl?
Ooh, I'd move to Hawaii.
Oh gosh.
I would move to, and we would figure out a way to make row 60 happen.
All right.
And
All right.
that would be, man.
There you go. There you go.
And just invest and give the rest. But anyway, all right, let's talk about some first round results. This first 12-team playoff. Yes, we had first round, and that's weird to say it. It's weird to say that we have a quarterfinal round, which we're about to play in. But this first round, man, was really interesting, and I think it kind of panned out the way in which a lot of people expected it to. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say, Clark, the biggest theme from the weekend of the first round games, and especially what we saw all year long in the Southeastern Conference, but it expanded out to college football and the elite teams in college football in general, is how big home field advantage truly still matters, man. I mean, even though obviously these home teams were more talented than the visiting teams, still, I mean, you just can't beat home field advantage in college football, especially in the SEC. But yeah, I mean, all these games, you know, if you were just sitting there watching, looking for entertaining ball games, Clemson made it a little bit closer at the end against Texas, but outside of that, all of them, the rest of them were lopsided, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it kind of just went how, you know, a lot of people thought it would go in a sense. Maybe some games were blowouts more than what we expected in a sense, but it was an electric environment, I thought, pregame in all these stadiums, man. I love that aspect, man. I mean, late December playing home football games on college campuses was an awesome thing. I really like that.
Yeah. We'll start with number 7 Notre Dame. And when I say number, I mean this is where they're seated here. Number 7 Notre Dame in Indiana. Let's talk about this game for just a little bit.
All right.
And we'll talk about this later in the show as well. But yeah, Notre Dame won 27-17. Indiana, man, they just didn't pan out.
No,
you know, and
no.
they had a great season. Let me clarify that. They had a great season for their program. This is a historic Indiana football team. They'll look back on it for decades to come. But man, they just when you line these teams up with a team like Notre Dame, who does have a lot of talent, this is kind of what you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's just, and this game was more lopsided than the score indicates.
Yeah,
27-17. Yeah, I mean, I think they got 2 garbage time touchdowns pretty much towards the end of the game. Say garbage time, but you know, late touchdowns that really didn't mean anything.
Right.
But man, Notre Dame, they kind of put it on Indiana for a little bit.
Yeah, out physical on the line of scrimmage, man, and it was something that Indiana's offense has been good against weaker defenses. I feel like all year, and put up a lot of glamorous point totals in a weaker Big Ten schedule that they faced, I would say. And they didn't get Oregon. The only ones they got was Ohio State, and I think they put 15 up against them. And it was just kind of but like you said, not to take away from what they did, I did lose respect for Kurt Signetti and his interviews on College Game Day and stuff leading up. That's just not the way I would handle it. If I was a Division I football coach, I would try to take a humble route and a humble approach to how I ran a program. I think that's what you see Kirby Smart do, and I think that's what you saw Nick Saban do, and the most elite of the elite coaches do in any sports, or any business CEO, anything in life. The most are pretty, majority of them is pretty humble, and that's what I like to see. And Signetti, whatever, you got to give him his props. Had a good first year at Indiana, but it turned me off to him, Clark, from just the interviews he had, and after that, I was glad to see Notre Dame win.
Yeah, you can't exactly call them frauds. They did what they had to do, and you're right. They just played in a really, really poor schedule throughout the whole year. And I think a lot of their stats, a lot of the wins were sort of inflated, and that finally caught up to Indiana in this game. So, yeah, Notre Dame, home field advantage. I think it was a really good environment. And, once again, we'll talk about this game a little bit later as well. Let's move on to number 6, Penn State versus number 11, SMU. Penn State 38-10. This was a blowout in my opinion. And that SMU quarterback, 2 pick sixes. I think he had 3 picks on the day total. What a just terrible performance by that kid. And bless his heart. I mean, I couldn't have done any better.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, Clark, again, another team we're talking about, a historic season for Southern Methodist, man, that SMU and Rhett Lashley, first year in the ACC, made it to the championship game, fought back against Clemson, lost a heartbreaker there, but went to Happy Valley, white out at noon, cold conditions, man, and the moment was just too big. They were out-talented, man, and I think the ACC, pretty weak conference in a sense.
It's the weakest conference.
It's
Since,
the weakest Power 4 conference, I think. I mean, I don't know. The Big 12, I think you could argue is a better conference, as far as Power 4 goes. And I don't know. I just think the moment was too big. But still, again, not to take away from SMU, awesome to make the first inaugural 12-team playoff. But just out-talented, man, home field, Happy Valley, tough place to play. And, I mean, just the results you get. It's a 4-touchdown win by Penn State.
Yeah.
So.
And then number 5, Texas versus number 12, Clemson. Clemson backdooring their way in. They got what was coming for them. Texas rolls over Clemson 38-24. It wasn't a blowout. It wasn't necessarily a beatdown.
Yeah.
Clemson did keep this game pretty competitive. I thought Cade Klubnik actually played pretty well.
I think he played his best game. He's great at Clemson.
Probably so. I mean, maybe there are people that would argue that. I didn't get to watch the first half, but yeah, I mean, Texas, man, they do what they have to do against every other team not named Georgia.
Yeah, it's amazing how they can run the football on all these other teams except Georgia and only rush for in 2 games 61 yards.
Yeah,
that's impressive. And as a Georgia fan, that's something to be proud of right there. But they were able to just run the ball at will against Clemson, I felt like. And Quinn Ewers still doesn't just show to me that he's just this going to take over a game, elite level quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, still a good quarterback, but I think when Texas is really good is when they're not one dimensional, like they have to have, being against Georgia in order to have success, which, they didn't offensively. But when they're able to be balanced and run the football on you, that's when they're dangerous and put up 38 points, man. So that's what they were able to do against a Clemson defense who I feel like since Venables left Clemson, South Carolina has went backwards every single year.
And we applaud that.
I love it, man. Yes. And now, they got a 30th ranked recruiting class in the nation coming in, I believe, or 26. And I love it, man. I mean, I love it.
Did you happen to see, though, that Dabo actually got not 1 but 2 players out of the portal?
No, did he really?
Yeah.
You mean Dabo went against what he thought? Dabo, man, I tell you,
What a guy.
Golly. Just a man of his word,
Yeah.
Stands strong in what he believes in.
Man
not
of
going to
integrity.
backtrack not going to backtrack.
No,
not going to backtrack.
No. And then the best one of the night, number 8 Ohio State versus number 9 Tennessee, 42-17 beat down. This was a skull dragging. Yeah. This is the one and only time I'll ever clap for Ohio State, whatever.
Yeah.
Good on them. I hope they get beat next round. But man, it was so satisfying watching this game.
Crazy. I mean, one of the only times I've ever cheered for Ohio State. I think the only other time I cheered for Ohio State was the Ohio State-Florida National Championship in 2006 when Urban Meyer won and Tebow was a freshman, I think, and Florida won that game. Yeah, with Tressel, and Florida blew them out. But anyway, I mean, this was sweet to watch. I mean, I don't care about, conference pride. You have to cheer for SEC. I mean, there's a lot of times I will cheer for an SEC team, but there's a specific amount of SEC teams that I will not cheer for because, I mean, they're hated rivals of Georgia, man. And I mean, and them being weak as a program is better for Georgia all around through recruiting and everything. So, I mean, Ryan Day being able to come out and boat race Tennessee like that. I mean, you knew the gimmick of them coming out shirtless. Did you see that?
Gosh.
The pregame, man, and doing that stuff. And Ohio State just, treated it as just business and went out there and just whooped them, man. And Nico and Tennessee's offense, Heupel's offense, couldn't do anything against a stout Ohio State defense. And, I mean, Ohio State played a very good, complete game on all 3 aspects of the football, man. And I think that, I hate to say this, but if Ohio State plays that level the rest of the way, I don't know if anybody in the country can beat them.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is a team, man, they pushed all the chips to the middle of the table for this team. I mean, you talk about $20 million NIL team here.
And we'll talk about this, but when I say that, I don't know if I have the confidence that Ohio State can keep that with the emotion, that high of emotion in the tank for Oregon, Texas potentially, then possibly Georgia after that. I don't know if they could do that continuously for the next 2 or 3 football games, but if they did, they're going to be a very tough out, especially if they keep rolling that way until when Georgia beats or plays them in Atlanta potentially. But yeah, I mean, they're dangerous, man. Like we thought preseason they could be, but the biggest question mark is Ryan Day and their quarterback play. Who's going to show up? What Ohio State team's going to show up? And until we see it the next couple rounds, man, I don't know what will happen. But I mean, it was good to see them just absolutely embarrass Tennessee. I think that loss is going to set Tennessee back. I saw where Squirrel White entered the transfer portal today.
Good.
And Mike Matthews, potentially another, highly touted receiver. Maybe they're not buying the hypo run and shoot offense.
It's a one-trick pony, man.
So I mean, maybe a few rocks are crumbling on Rocky Top, and I love it. I'm here for it, Clark.
It does make you wonder about Ohio State. Is this game kind of like a get-back game for them after just a demoralizing loss to Michigan for the 4th straight year in a row in your home place?
Yeah.
You get a flag planted in your stadium. Like, is this just kind of a culmination of a ton of emotions and, hey, we got to go let it out against Tennessee? And, yeah, are they going to have a letdown game? Because you're right, Adam.
Yeah.
If they play to that level for the rest of the year, as much as I love my Georgia Bulldogs and as confident as I am in this team, even with Gunnar Stockton, I still don't know if our best would be their best this year.
That's right.
I don't know. And I mean, this is all hypothetical stuff here. But yeah, Ohio State, man, they looked really good round 1. We'll see what they do against Oregon round 2.
Did they drain the tank, man? And they're playing a very talented Oregon team in a Rose Bowl, a historic Rose Bowl matchup. And even though they're now in the same conference in the Big Ten, old Pac-12, Pac-10, Oregon, and Ohio State in Pasadena, it's couldn't have asked for any better if you're, the college football committee or just fan of college football and historic aspect, man. That's going to be a highly emotional game there too. So can't wait to see who wins that football game.
Mm-hmm. One last thing, Tennessee and their takeover of the horseshoe. I will say, it was a pretty good showing for them.
I mean, the fans did their job.
And I loved it. I love seeing their faces.
Disappointed yet again.
Disappointed.
Another big game loss.
Yep, they got to watch their team get demoralized in the first round of the playoff. Do you think they'll write a book about the season, Adam?
Yeah, it'll be a book like that you could put on your coffee table with the 2022 rendition of the Vols coming back. Josh Heupel leading them back to glory.
Unreal.
So, yeah, I mean, first round, Tennessee, first round, hang the banner. Hang the banner.
Congratulations, Tennessee.
Congratulations, Tennessee. And it doesn't look like you're really using the momentum to build upon it either. So, I mean, yeah.
Gosh,
good on them.
I love hating Tennessee, man. I got to say, I hate Clemson, I hate Florida, I hate Auburn Tech.
All of them.
I don't know, man. Tennessee, there's just something about them I despise.
I'm
so glad that they get to watch the rest of the college football playoff from the comfort of their home and their recliners.
That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh. All right, well, let's move on to the big one.
First off, Clark, can I say this, man? I really like the pullover you got right there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Peach State Pride, Adam. And believe it or not, you get one too.
Awesome.
They sent us two in the mail right before Christmas. And man, they look sharp. And I'm telling you, folks, this might be my new favorite pullover.
It looks like it is very comfortable.
Yes.
It looks like it's very
thin,
comfortable and looks sharp too.
Like you could wear it to the gym. This is a good second layer. I came in tonight to the shop with my big Carhartt jacket that I got from Christmas.
Love it.
And this is another good just secondary layer. It's warm, but not too warm. You can definitely run in this, work out, work in this if you wanted to. I don't know why. I don't think this is good. This wouldn't be a good work thing.
No,
but a good workout.
I mean, just a good. I think it's something that you could wear. That dress wear and casual wear. It could go good with about anything, man. So I like it. I like it a lot. Go visit PeachStatePride.com. Go check our friends out right there. I got the hat on right here. Clark's got the pullovers that they've put out now. A lot of good Georgia stuff. A lot of good just state of Georgia pride stuff that they have there. Go check out all the offerings they have. PeachStatePride.com. We appreciate it.
Love it. All right, Georgia versus Notre Dame.
Here we go, baby.
Wednesday, January 1st.
Time to get serious.
2025. Gosh, just when you get used to saying 2024, you gotta start saying 2025.
Quarter of a century.
That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. Time marches on. 8:45 p.m. ESPN, the primetime game. I love how this is at 8:45, not 8:30, not 8:45.
8:45, man. I mean, and you know why it is that, right?
No, I don't.
Because it plays second fiddle to the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl's got to have their time, everything. Their allotted time slot, everybody. And it's been that way since the beginning of time that all of the national pundits in the Northeast, the West, Midwest, everywhere, all eyes got to be fixated on the Rose Bowl. And then you get the Sugar Bowl late at night, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Sugar Bowl, to me, I don't know. I think you're right, though. Going back to like a Southern thing, the Sugar Bowl is a very Southern thing. The Rose Bowl is more of your Northern/Western thing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Obviously, Clark, you know, if you the Rose Bowl in 2018 after the 17 season was one of the top Georgia games I've ever been to. It was special. The venue was amazing. The sights, the sounds, the Rose Parade, everything was amazing. But that being said, as somebody who grew up in the Southeast, loving college football history, I have dreamed of seeing Georgia play a playoff game in the Louisiana Superdome in the Sugar Bowl, man, because of the nostalgia that SEC teams have in the history of the Sugar Bowl. And I mean, it was always special when it was just a Sugar Bowl, but now adding the playoffs to it, this is the one I've been wanting to see in New Orleans, seeing Georgia play in this game, and I'm glad we get to do it, man. So, yeah, I mean, that it's special, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, Georgia and Notre Dame, second time they match up in the Sugar Bowl.
That's
Obviously,
right.
the first one, 1981. You know, Herschel Walker not breaking his shoulder, dislocating it, popping it back in, rushing for, I think, 2 touchdowns that game.
Yeah, over that Notre Dame defense had not given up 100 yards rushing the whole year.
Wow.
And Herschel Walker dislocated his shoulder the second play from scrimmage, Clark. And, you know, he said pains in your head. And he came out there. He wasn't going to miss the Sugar Bowl. I remember in an interview, man, he said, this is the biggest game of my life, and I'm going to miss it because I have a dislocated shoulder. Nah, that's not happening. He came in, and he put over 100 yards rushing on a Notre Dame defense that hadn't given up over 100 the whole year with a dislocated shoulder, man.
That is amazing.
But Ballou only completed 1 pass that game. Think about that.
God.
Now, think about that. Think about if Gunnar Stockton only completes 1 pass in this Sugar Bowl.
And still wins the game?
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened. You know, I mean, and Georgia Notre Dame turned the ball over a lot. I mean, Georgia recovered a kickoff. It wasn't even an onside kick, man. It's a ball that, like, have to go back and look at it, like a regular kickoff that hit like maybe the 5 or so, took a weird bounce, and Georgia's kickoff team got down there and got on the football.
Do you ever watch like how guys back then celebrated?
Oh yeah,
They were
classic.
just, it's hilarious
just jumping
watching
up and down, just yeah,
throwing haymakers
I like
in the
that.
air.
We need to bring that back. Instead of
Should
all
we?
these, yeah. I mean, it's better than the seat belts and the all the other just stuff that I have no idea what it means, but whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But that I know it's just pure jubilation.
Yeah.
Just throwing your arms up and down and giving a fist pump is just good, clean celebrating right there.
Yeah. Nothing fancy.
Nothing fancy. Just excited about them. Just living in the moment. Thankful for the moment. Basking in the moment, baby. No ulterior motives or signals being sent by this celebration. It's just pure joy.
No gang
I'm all
signs.
for that. No, yes, no. Yeah. And no, yeah. We're just going to.
If you don't know what we're talking about, seriously, go back and watch Georgia versus Notre Dame 1981 Sugar Bowl, National Championship, whatever, and just look at that kickoff because that's what I'm referencing.
Yeah.
There's a kickoff, Georgia recovers. Yeah, I mean, within their 5-yard line, and we go on to score.
Scott Warner, man, he had a big interception that game. Defense played well, but Notre Dame had a lot of self-inflicted stuff, turned the ball over. I can't remember how many times, but multiple times in different ways. And, the offense, you know, I mean, back in that day, man, it was Herschel left, Herschel right, Herschel up the middle. And why wouldn't it be with somebody like 34 in the backfield? But, yeah, I get excited about that game. VHS growing up, my mom had some old VHS tapes from those national championship days in the early 80s, man. I'd watch them. Then it's a fun game to look back on, man. And the fact that Georgia's playing in the Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame again, and Notre Dame's, this is their only, 5th time or so at the Sugar Bowl, and we get to do it again against them after when Georgia won their second national championship, 42, and then in 80 there. It's special. It's special for everybody who loves Georgia football history and to relive that. So.
Yeah. Georgia, all time, 5 and 6 in Sugar Bowl games.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to even the series record there.
Oh, man.
Let's start, Adam, and I'll kind of read through this list right quick, and then you can talk over and you know, give us your ode to the Sugar Bowl.
Yes.
We'll kind of start that, but let's start 1947. Georgia beat UNC. That's North Carolina, 20-10. I'm just going to kind of point out notable games. I'm not going to read through every one of these. 1981, obviously Georgia versus Notre Dame. What?
77 was a big one, man. Tony Dorsett, the legendary NFL running back, played for Pitt then, and just ran all over Georgia in that one. Georgia had a shot at a natty, actually, in that game. Kind of, but some stuff had to happen. Back then, you didn't just go to like a national championship. Like there were some times where you'd win a national championship, but other stuff had to happen during bowl season as well.
Yeah. And then 81, we just talked about that one. 82, Georgia versus Pittsburgh, 24-20.
Outside shot at a natty there. Dan Marino at Pitt, legendary game. Last minute drive came down the field and beat Georgia. Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker. But even though Georgia lost, it didn't lose in the national championship. Clemson won it that year, beat Nebraska in the Orange Bowl. So even if Georgia won, I still don't think they would have won a national championship that particular Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
But, Dan Marino at the end beat them.
Mm-hmm. I think my dad was at that one. I'm sure. Was your mom there too?
Yes. She was at all three of them in the 80s.
Yeah, my dad didn't. He didn't go to the first Sugar Bowl in 81, but he went in 82. And then 83, we lost that one as well. Georgia versus Penn State, 27-23.
Yeah.
Joe Pa.
That was a number 1 versus number 2 matchup, kind of rare back in the bowl season that point in time. So that was a winner won the national title, and that was a Joe Paterno national championship. Ty Blackledge was the quarterback for Penn State, and most people familiar with Ty Blackledge now as a ESPN commentator. For many years, I think does a phenomenal job as a commentator.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, him and who was his partner? Madonna was for a long time.
Madonna.
He's with Greg McElroy now. So. I don't know,
but Blackledge and I can't think of it.
But yeah, I like Blackledge, man. He beat Georgia in that game, and it's one that Georgia could have, won another national championship if they won that game, but lost by 4 to Penn State.
That is crazy.
Probably would have made it to the '84 Sugar Bowl had Herschel not left early for the USFL the following year.
Thanks,
after
Donald
that
Trump.
game. Yeah,
Donald Trump pulled him away from college football. No,
it wasn't Donald Trump.
Who was it?
It wasn't Donald Trump. We're not going to put that on Donald Trump. It was Donald Trump bought the New Jersey Generals because of Herschel Walker.
Oh, okay.
Coming.
Okay.
I think.
You think?
Yes.
All right.
90% sure that was the case. After it already had happened, he purchased them, I think.
Interesting. All right, 20 years later, Georgia. This is a big one, Adam. I know you want to talk about this one. Georgia won versus Florida State, UGA, FSU, 26-13. Talk about that game.
Yeah, I got that scorecard over there signed by Mark Richt, man. That was a special time in New Orleans. That's where my passion for Georgia football became obsessive. That right there was I just remember Big Al and my mom and just the older Georgia generation that was being so excited because, went through the dark years of the 90s. Didn't make a Sugar Bowl then. I mean, hadn't been to a Sugar Bowl in 20 years, man. And that's what I love and I miss about that era of growing up, loving college football, is the Sugar Bowl meant something back then, Clark. It meant something to go to play in New Orleans. Even if a national championship wasn't on the line, the pride of winning a Sugar Bowl, and that Louisiana Superdome was rocking that night. Bruce Thornton had a big 71-yard pick-6 return, man. And Florida State, I mean, they were like the Alabama teams of that area in the sense of they were always in national championship contention. That's kind of when Bobby Bowden started his decline. Mark Richt was, obviously came from Florida State as an offensive coordinator a couple years earlier, so it was big, him playing his mentor, Bobby Bowden, like it was with Smart playing Saban. And so, I mean, a lot of storylines around that game, and Georgia winning its first Sugar Bowl since 1981 there, Clark, was a big boost to the program. I think it elevated the program to another step to get to eventually where we are now. But you look back on that game, man, it's special. I remember the walk to the Superdome because obviously it's an 8:45 kickoff. It's late. The lights that are around that old, and what I love about it's not like Mercedes-Benz Stadium where it's brand new. It's an old dome, man, and the ghosts of that Superdome, man. Not even the Georgia games. I mean, I hate to say it, but legendary Alabama games there, legendary, just Miami versus like Tennessee, Miami, Alabama. Gene Stallings, he was my favorite if you have to pick one Alabama coach. I really actually like Gene Stallings. But, I mean, just if you're a fan of college football, SEC football, the Sugar Bowl games that you saw, Florida and Florida State rematch there for a national championship in the mid-'90s there, man. Bobby Bowden versus Spurrier. So as a college football nerd, you got to love the Sugar Bowl. And the good thing about it is you could watch a Sugar Bowl replay from like Penn State and Alabama in 1978 or 79.
It looks the same.
And it looks the same, man, as it does as what you'll see next Wednesday night. There's a haze in the field, it looks like, when you look. And that, to me, the traditionalist nostalgia that I have, I love that, man. So the ghost of just these Sugar Bowls past, you feel like it's still with you when you go into that Superdome, man. And I mean, that game was just special. It solidified another Georgia Sugar Bowl win, man. And I miss that. I miss about how much it meant. So.
Yeah, you're right, Adam. I mean, any college football nerd, if you haven't already been, and this is my encouragement to anybody who's on the fence, go. The Sugar Bowl is such a special place. I've only been once, and that was an unfortunate year. We'll talk about that game in just a second. But yeah, when I got there, Adam, it's the same feeling I got walking into the Rose Bowl. I got goosebumps.
Oh, you get goosebumps.
It is so, I don't know. Yeah, it's just so nostalgic. Even though, once again, I'd never been there. You just know it, and when you see the Sugar Bowl, you're like, dadgummit, that is the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the seats are all these just different colors, man. And I don't know if they've redone it
they have.
since the, we were there for the Texas game. But it used to be, man, it's like, this is straight out of, the mid-'70s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. So, but yeah, I love it. I love the Louisiana Super, and it'll always be the Louisiana Superdome to me.
Not the Caesar Superdome.
No. And I hate the Saints, for the record. I'm not a Saints fan. I just love the venue.
Let's see. Yeah, so that was 2003. 2006, we didn't play in the Superdome. We were actually in the Georgia Dome, Georgia versus West Virginia. This was a Sugar Bowl with Katrina. They had to move it. Georgia lost this one 38-35.
Terrible.
In a bad, just a bad game.
I mean, that was a fun football team. Won the 05 SEC championship. Was fired up. This is the cut from that game. Against West Virginia. West Virginia, no name then. They had a kicker named Pat McAfee. They had Steve Slayton and Pat White was the quarterback running back duo, man. And this is when kind of Rich Rod came onto the scene with West Virginia. I saw that he was hired by West Virginia the other day. He's coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rich Rodriguez is coming back
I did not
to
see that.
Morgantown, West Virginia. So it kind of just gave me some bad memories and flashbacks to this game, man, because I honestly thought everybody did. We were just going to roll over this West Virginia team, man. And, went in there overconfident. Georgia wasn't ready for that game. It being in Atlanta was weird. And, Georgia came roaring back, and West Virginia ran a fake punt there at the end. If Georgia would have got the ball back, we would have went and scored 142-38. But West Virginia ran a fake punt that everybody in the stadium except Mark Richt knew was coming. And, they converted and was able to run the clock out. But painful game because I had to go to school the next morning, too, after that. So it was a late Sugar Bowl start. Then I had to wake up and go to school the next morning.
Wait. You're telling me,
went to school.
The game got pushed back, right?
Oh, that game was.
Or is it still on the first?
It'll say right here.
No,
it don't, does it? Crap.
You're telling me.
Oh, I think we did want to go to school on the second. Look up what year the 2006 Sugar Bowl, or what day it was on. I know I went to school the next morning. It was terrible.
Well, what did people say to you at school?
Oh, you know how it was. I think I was, what grade would I have been in? 6th or 7th at the time? January 2nd?
Yeah, January 2nd.
So,
wow.
So it
was
been
January
the
3rd
when we went. Yeah.
Okay.
So
interesting.
It was awful. Terrible Sugar Bowl. I don't like to remember that.
Yeah. Well, this one was 2 years later. This one was a great one. 2008, we won Georgia versus Hawaii, 41-10. If these two teams played today, I don't know who I'd be able to pull for. But I'm just kidding.
You're
I'm
ridiculous.
kidding.
You're ridiculous.
I do love Hawaii.
You are ridiculous.
I do love Hawaii football.
Yeah.
I'm a Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah.
At
like
small percentage now.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
tell us about this one. You were at this one as well.
Yeah. This game right here, man, was this game right here was another one of those go back to your youth, your childhood about how special the Sugar Bowl was, because at the end of the 2007 season, if there was a 12-team playoff, heck, if there was a 14 playoff, Georgia would have won the national championship. That was probably the best ball any Mark Richt team was playing, I feel like, in 2007. You could argue that first Sugar Bowl team against Florida State, the 02 team, would have done the same thing, but I think they would have had a tougher time. But this 07 team, 100% would have beat LSU, beat Ohio State in the playoff. And, could have had the opportunity to get the SEC championship, but Tennessee beat Vanderbilt and Kentucky 2 weeks in a row to end the season on in overtime and the last second field goal. Vanderbilt and Kentucky, who never came close to Tennessee at the time to beating them, almost did. And Georgia just needed Tennessee to lose one of them football games to go to the SEC championship. But, Georgia lost in Knoxville early that year, lost to South Carolina early that year. But that was all in like September, early October. But by the end of October, man, this football team was clicking through November. And so everybody was fired up. It was the blackout against Auburn. They went ahead and announced we're having a blackout against Hawaii in the Sugar Bowl. And this team was clicking. This defense was absolutely humming. The best this Willie Martinez defense played that looked the closest to a Kirby Smart defense that we enjoy today in the Mark Richt era, I feel like. And I just remember what I remember about that. It was a blackout. All these Georgia fans wearing black. But one of the first plays of the game when Colt Brennan, rest in peace, was under center for Hawaii and Georgia's defense was on the field, this Samoan, like this native of Hawaii, was proud, as he should have been, that Hawaii was in the Sugar Bowl, came to the States, to New Orleans to watch this game. You can tell, he's not used to a big-time college football environment. I'll never forget, man, this guy looks behind us, and he goes, shh. He can't hear. He can't, as you see on YouTube, I'm motioning my arms in like a silent, be quiet, like arm motion there. And he was really trying to seriously tell Georgia fans to be quiet because Colt Brennan couldn't hear to run the offense.
Are you sure he wasn't being sarcastic?
100% know that for a fact.
Gosh. Bless his heart. Yeah, I've been to Aloha Stadium. It is not, it's a pretty stadium, but it's not like a venue for big-time football.
Yeah, man.
But nowhere is in the Mountain West.
That game's special. I'm going to have to rewatch that one before we go to New Orleans Wednesday, man, just for nostalgic purposes. Marcus Howard running over Colt Brennan, strip sack, man, in the end zone right there was just a thing of beauty. That defense was humming, man. No Sean running wild. Special game. Felt like a national championship at the time. Obviously, we hadn't experienced one, but that felt like, the closest thing that you could get because it was a big Sugar Bowl win, 41-10. And also we thought that we were going to be unbeatable in 08 with Stafford and No Sean coming back. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but great night in New Orleans, man.
Yeah. 11 years later, we returned to New Orleans for the 2019 Sugar Bowl, Georgia versus Texas. We felt like we were snubbed. I still think we were. We were playing good football then. Our offense wasn't. Or no, sorry, that was 2018 season. Yeah, we had it been a 12-team playoff, I really do think Georgia would have made it deep.
Oh, absolutely.
If not won the whole thing in 2018. But, yeah, anyway, Georgia versus Texas, 28-21. This was a terrible night. This is my last game as a student, my first time in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah, man. And we'd been to New Orleans earlier that year because we played LSU in Baton Rouge and got beat. But we stayed in New Orleans and went up to Baton Rouge about an hour. But this game, man, it was awful because it's first time back, like you alluded to, since the Hawaii game. So I'm building it up like I am as this is the Sugar Bowl, baby. This is special. I'm glad to see Georgia back. I'm going to enjoy this, man, because of my childhood memories of the Sugar Bowl and what it meant. And I understand the history and the prestige of getting to play in a Sugar Bowl. But it didn't feel like what it did against Hawaii and Florida State to me, man, because it didn't feel like that to the team, man, because DeAndre Baker on the sidelines there, opting out, but still traveling with the team there, ticked me off. They didn't want to be there, and it showed on the playing field, and Texas won that game, and a very unforgettable game, one of the maddest I've ever been after a Georgia football game, just not because they got, because like the refs or anything happened, it was just the whole – you could just tell the culture of the team at that point in time and the attitude. And I think there was a shift that even it ticked Kirby Smart off too that you saw from that moment forward as well in the football program.
I'll be honest. This was, I think you're right. This was kind of, I don't want to say a complete 180 turning point or anything, but this did tick off Kirby. I remember that pretty vividly.
It should.
And it was the whole, once again, it was the attitude of the team. And you're right. I remember being there and Kirby at practice, we were practicing in the Saints facility. And he told the team, he said, guys, your curfew's at, I think it was like 5 a.m. Yeah. Granted, this is New Year's Eve, and the game was at 8:45 New Year's Day. Right. As soon as I heard that, I was thinking, good God, 5 a.m.?
Yeah.
You can be out till 5 a.m. and on Bourbon Street and stuff. I was thinking, good gosh.
The casinos and everything.
Guys, we played hungover that night.
No, of course they did, man. And of course they did. They're 18 to 22-year-old kids, and honestly, even though they're at pads on, they don't care about the nostalgia and the prestige of what the 08 Sugar Bowl and the 03 Sugar Bowl was to Georgia fans,
So what you're saying is if they played with a fraction of the passion that you have for the Sugar Bowl, they would have won that
particular
game.
night. They probably, they should have. But obviously they're 18, 22-year-old kids. Whatever. That game didn't have that. 18 SEC championship was a heartbreaker. That one really ticks me off. I can't go back and think about that one much. But, yeah, that game was awful. I couldn't stand that Sugar Bowl. That was awful.
Another fun little thing about that game, leading up, we were practicing in the I'm going to call it the Superdome for you. And
thank you.
What would happen would be like on Monday, Texas would go in and practice at, 1 o'clock p.m. And then Georgia would come in at 4 p.m. and like we would go in after them. So then it kind of flip-flopped, whatever. There was one day where Texas left their practice schedule up in the place where we shot our end zone shot.
Oh, did you steal it?
And we stole it and we gave it to.
You stole Tom Herman's playbook.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a playbook, but it was a schedule, and it had pretty detailed things of what they were working on, how they were breaking up practice and everything. Did that help us at all?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
so
not.
Frustrating.
That game just ticks.
I know.
It makes me mad thinking about that trip to New Orleans. It's like, golly, we came down here and they don't even want to be here. And then it hit me. It made me sad, man, because now it's like, God, it's national championship or bust. And I agree as a fan, obviously where Georgia is now, we want that to be. It doesn't feel successful in a sense if we don't win the national championship. But still, man, the Sugar Bowl is huge. And adding a Sugar Bowl trophy to Butch-Mehre is a big deal. But it was a turning point in the program, man. I think, that was a stepping stone to get to where Georgia is now.
Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of trophies, I just had a shower thought. I was in the shower, and that's where I do my best thinking.
Yeah, of course.
But I got to thinking about these playoff games. I'm like, we play an extra playoff game. If Georgia wins the Sugar Bowl, then we go on to the Orange Bowl. I started thinking about trophies. We literally get to double up on trophies.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming we win.
That is true. You got to add some more hardware.
Yeah. And I love a good trophy case, especially when you have a lot of different ones.
Yeah.
You remember like playing 2006, NCAA 06, and your dynasty or whatever, and you have a trophy case.
It's full.
Yeah.
You got to delete a couple if you win too much.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, and then the last Sugar Bowl we'll talk about is the most recent one, Georgia versus Baylor in 2020. This is coming off the 2019 season. Going back down to New Orleans, played Baylor, beat them 26-14. What a game that was. Adam, we weren't there. This was the first game. Was this the game that broke your streak of like 100
this is the
something?
first game I missed in like 108, and I was not happy that New Year's Eve night that me and Kelsey, we did not have a good New Year's bringing it in because I was trying to make a day trip like I am this Sugar Bowl. And, in Kelsey's defense, obviously she didn't really care for the city of New Orleans. We'd been there last year. We went on a work trip she had to go on. I went with her to New Orleans. A few months before that, we went to the LSU game. So we've been like to New Orleans 3 times in a year, and she did not want to go.
Understand.
And that's fine. I understood that too. But I wanted hey, let me and Clark just go on down there. And she didn't want me. That's understandable too. But I was not happy about missing that football game.
Yeah.
But no, it was good though. And it was the right call. And it was during, right before the COVID stuff started and everything then and all that good fun stuff.
I do remember sitting there the night before. And I mean, truly, people, we were actually thinking of just striking out in the morning and just heading down to New Orleans, there and back, get down and back as quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And I texted Adam a couple times, no response. And I got to thinking, maybe I shouldn't push this any further. So
I was having the conversations, but as a married, all married men know that you fight the good trying, and then it doesn't happen. But it's fine. And no, Kelsey's great. I'm going actually doing the same trip I wanted to do then this go around. Kelsey hates New Orleans, not going, but she's giving me just full blessing and support going this time, and I'm very thankful and appreciative.
Well, and these are higher stakes.
Higher
this
stakes.
game is way higher stakes.
And obviously that was a playoff game. She would have wanted me to go to that one too, but no, it was just fun. You just laugh looking back on it now. But that game though, the game I remember being fired up that Matt Luke. That was, he was just hired after Sam Pittman went to take the head coaching job at Arkansas. Matt Luke comes in, and he did the old milk the cow thing to get the lime and juice, man. And I was and Warren Erickson was the center. I was like, here we go, baby. This is what we need on the offensive line of men. Even though we hate losing the pit boss, man. Like, Matt Luke coming in with some energy coaching the Sugar Bowl
and
for
doing
us.
some
doing the milk of the cow, baby. Really getting everybody juice with the milk of the, that's the kind of things that gets me fired up. Like seeing Muschamp at Ohio State, seeing Muschamp on the sidelines in Atlanta this past SEC championship game. But that was a good time. Jake Fromm played a good game, his last game in the red and black, man. And, you know, it was big because of what had happened. And another reason why I was like, I don't know, you know, kind of was like, it's okay if it didn't go because I was still burned from the year before against Texas and New Orleans. I didn't want to see that happen again. But it was a complete different case, man, because the culture had turned. Kirby wasn't going to allow that to happen again. This Georgia team came in that Sugar Bowl, no playoff game, obviously, that year, but they were focused. They wanted to win, and they won like they should. So, I mean, that was a good win.
That was a good win. All right.
It's Matt Rule, Baylor team.
True.
Also, Clark, I will have to say, New Orleans is wild.
Yeah.
Bourbon Street's wild. I will have to say that at the age of 9, early, and this was not late in the night. Obviously, my parents didn't let me go down Bourbon Street late in the night, and we just kind of. This was earlier in the night. It was still rocking, but we were just first time we'd all been in New Orleans, just walking down the street. We accidentally wandered through Bourbon Street around that Bourbon Street.
Oh my gosh!
I became a man that night, Clark, at the age of 9. I saw some sights and sounds that you wouldn't want a 9-year-old man to see. But, I mean, as a 9-year-old red-blooded American male, you saw some stuff that still sticks with you on New Year's Eve in New Orleans.
Yeah, Bourbon Street's crazy. Fremont Street out in Vegas, crazy. But, I don't think anything beats Bourbon. Golly, that place is wild.
We will not be going anywhere around this Sugar Bowl trip. We're literally going there, business trip, and back.
Good. That's what I like
Getting there, getting back, baby.
All right, Adam. 4 Georgia players have been awarded the MVP award at the Sugar Bowl. Can you name all 4?
Oh, golly.
You got this. Don't think too hard. Oh, man. These would be given during Georgia football wins. So let's go back and think about the wins right quick.
Yeah, Jake Fromm or DeAndre Swift.
Neither.
No, DeAndre Swift didn't play in that game, did he? He played very little, I remember.
Very little.
Oh, God.
He had a big game.
Man. I don't remember.
All right.
I don't remember.
Go back to 81.
81 would have been Herschel.
Yes, correct.
81 would have been Herschel. Was 2002 Bruce Thornton?
You mean 03?
03.
No, not Bruce Thornton.
Musa Smith.
Okay,
Yep. Musa Smith. 08 Stafford or Marino?
No, neither. Defensive guy.
Oh, Marcus Howard. Yeah, of course.
Marcus Howard.
That was dumb.
See,
yeah, Marcus Howard.
thinking,
Thought too much. Yeah, I'm thinking too much into it. And then this past one would have been George Pickens.
George Pickens,
That's right. Yeah.
He had like 10, 11 catches or something.
I remember that freshman George. Now I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember. Sorry, I had to just knock the cobwebs off a little bit and remember because I don't really pay much attention to the MVPs. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, like Darion Kendrick was the MVP for the Orange Bowl a couple of years ago.
I remember that.
It's like I don't really remember that.
Yeah,
I mean, I know he had a pick. He had 2 picks that game. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
a big game, but
big game.
Yeah. All right. Georgia and Notre Dame have only played 3 times in history: 1981, 2017, 2019. I think it's worth noting, and I'm sure some of y'all have already seen this, that the last time a Georgia quarterback had his first career start against Notre Dame, it was Jake Fromm.
Yeah.
It's 2017. That's a good little omen.
Yeah, that's right, Clark. Great trip. A lot of people can argue this is where the Kirby Smart era when people started believing, man. Big road win. Yeah, week 2, Jacob Eason gets hurt, sophomore against App State. A lot of promise going in the 17 season after kind of getting broke in the 16 season. His true freshman year, Kirby's first year. Lose them against App State. A lot of just question marks going in the South Bend with Fromm, man. But big win. 2019. Davin Bellamy with a strip sack on Brandon Wimbush. That was who recovered that? I don't know who
Lorenzo
recovered.
Carter.
That's right. Lorenzo Carter recovered it. But 2019 1-point win, historic venue in South Bend. Georgia took over the stadium. One of my all-time favorite Georgia football memories.
Yep. Then 2019, man, we hosted Notre Dame. What a great win that was at home. Night game, that place was rocking. And, squeaked out a win there, 23-17. Ian Book, they about scored there at the end to win that game. We were talking about that game the other day.
Yeah.
But, so this will make the 4th meeting between Georgia and Notre Dame. Georgia, once again, undefeated against Notre Dame. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's current head coach is Marcus Freeman, not to be confused with Morgan Freeman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, is there a little confusion there?
Not for me, not on my end.
But you just need to throw that out. That needs to be a PSA now. Okay, all right. Yes, well, good. That's never. I've never been confused with the two, but I'm glad.
Now you will be.
Yeah, now you will be. But I'm glad that you noted that.
Yeah, just in case.
That's
Just
good.
in case.
That's good. That's good to know.
Marcus Freeman is 31-9 after taking over for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. And, pretty good track record. He's had 2 absolutely embarrassing, inexcusable losses in his time. One of those losses being this year. One to Notre Dame. Or sorry, one to Northern Illinois.
Lost to himself?
No, sorry. One to Northern Illinois and then another to Marshall.
That is right. I remember the Marshall. Do you
Really
remember the
bad
Marshall
losses,
one? Me
yeah.
and you were by ourselves coming back from Columbia, South Carolina. Beat the dog mess out of South
Oh,
Carolina
yeah,
that day.
jeez.
And you were streaming that game, giving me an update.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good
that
times.
was week 2 of 2022. Yeah, so, Marcus Freeman, man, I was kind of skeptical. I said, I can't believe Notre Dame, when Brian Kelly bolted LSU, went with Marcus Freeman. I think he had 1 year as defensive coordinator at Notre Dame under Brian Kelly before Brian Kelly left. They promoted him. But, all in all, I think if you ask anybody around South Bend, Indiana, or the country, because Notre Dame fans are everywhere, they would think it's an upgrade over Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll be honest.
I think it is, yeah.
He's got him a little bit further than Brian Kelly ever did.
I like Marcus Freeman better than Brian Kelly.
I do too. He's more likable
as
for
a
sure.
person and everything.
Yeah. He's never like said anything that's been like cringy or make me, not like him or anything. So let's talk about them this season though. Notre Dame has wins over Texas A&M. It was a very impressive win there week 1. They went to College Station. Yep. They had a win over Purdue, Miami of Ohio, Louisville, who was ranked at the time, Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, who was also ranked at the time, Florida State, Virginia, Army, who was ranked, USC, and Indiana. So they are currently, 12-1. And like I said earlier, their sole loss on the season came to Northern Illinois at home, 16-14, probably, if not the biggest upset in Notre Dame history. No doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you don't get any worse than that, right?
That was great, man. But, good on Marcus Freeman rallying the guys after that week 2 and winning out from there,
Yeah.
But still, that is a crazy, crazy stat, man.
Mm-hmm. And then this matchup, Georgia is currently favored by 2 points. I think initially when it opened, the line was at 1, or the spread rather was at 1 point in favor of Notre Dame, and now it's shifted to 2 in favor of Georgia. So with that said, let's talk about some X's and O's here. Let's start with Notre Dame's offense versus Georgia's defense. And I think the first thing we ought to note is Riley Leonard. I think he is definitely an X factor in this game. If, and this is a big if, they can get a passing attack established, Notre Dame could give Georgia some fits, I think, defensively.
Oh, yeah.
If they can get a balanced attack going.
Riley Leonard is a veteran quarterback, Clark. Played good at Duke last year, transferred in to Notre Dame. I think, has had a good, experienced, and has never played in a playoff game, but a veteran guy, like you said, Clark. He's not a guy that's going to be a Haynes King or obviously a Jalen Milroe type guy that I really think can just absolutely scorch you with his legs. But he still can be mobile if he breaks containment and he's got some running room, But I think that's something that is not going to be a game plan centered around him beating you with his legs. Notre Dame will go with. I think you hit the nail on the head that if you let them get balanced and you let them be able to set up some play action with him, then he could beat you. But I feel like if you do what you've done against Texas, I think it's almost a Quinn Ewers type deal in the sense that if you take away the run and you force Riley Leonard to pick you apart in the air, then I think you feel really good about where you're at defensively in the game.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say they won't throw it a ton. I mean, this isn't just an air raid offense. I'd say they're pretty multiple. They're very pro style. They're honestly a lot like Georgia in the way that we do things, we operate. They're going to really try to obviously get the run game established. That's their bread and butter. They've got a guy named Jeremiah Love, number 4, sophomore running back. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, big and physical back. I think he's like 6 foot, like 200 something. Good breakaway speed. He had that big run against Indiana in the first round.
That's right, that 98-yard run. Yeah. Man, he's a stud, man, and you can't let him get to churning, man, just like we said with the Wisner kid for Texas. So, now I would like to allude that I don't think Riley Leonard is obviously a better passer than Quinn Ewers, but I think one thing that with Riley is if you get pressure on him, man, I really feel like he's somebody that he could panic in the sense that he's going to have one read and then kind of want to tuck and run and do something with the football. Then if and very intermediate. If you take away intermediate passing, I don't think he's going to be somebody who's going to take the cap off with big explosive pass plays downfield.
Yeah, they have very few of those. They're not going to throw it a ton, but when they do like to get high percentage stuff, short to intermediate passing attack, and it's just they just push the field. They just inch their way downfield. They're not going to take it the top off throwing the football necessarily. Now, run game, they do generate a lot of explosive plays, and they have all season. But you could argue, who have they really played?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think that plays into the strength of what Georgia wants to do on the defense side of the football, and what Georgia's defense is built to stop is a, like you said, a kind of typical pro-style offense that likes to set up the run, and that's their big key is to establish the run game and then not be quick to abandon the run game. And then before you know it, you have 50 yards rushing in the fourth quarter. And that's one thing, man, or less than 50 yards rushing, and it's one thing, man, that I really like that how Georgia's defense matches up against Notre Dame. Yes, don't get me wrong, Notre Dame definitely, if Georgia's not playing their best ball, man, and Notre Dame's playing their A-plus game on offense, then this Notre Dame team can put up enough points to beat Georgia, but I can't lie and say that I'm not very confident about this matchup on our Georgia defense versus Notre Dame's offense. And Notre Dame, what they like to try to do is their offensive identity, I think, plays very well at what this Georgia defense is built to stop.
Yeah. They're 101st in passing offense in the regular season with only 196 yards per game. So once again, they're not tearing it up through the air. And they really don't have like a go-to guy on the perimeter. If you were to name one, it would probably be Bo Collins. He was a Clemson transfer, their leading receiver. But other than that, it's more of a committee of receivers and backs chipping in for the passing game. So yeah, Riley Leonard, like if you give him time, he's gonna complete passes. They're very efficient through there, I think. But it's once again, you gotta get pressure and you gotta get home. If you're Georgia, you've got to get home when you blitz.
Yeah, and has he seen anybody like Michael Williams and Jalen Walker both coming off the edge?
And Kristen Miller.
Coming back, baby.
Yeah.
Woo! Man.
I think you got to mix it up. Indiana, man, they're look, I was not impressed. I don't know if anybody that was impressed with their defensive play. Yeah. Just it was soft. Honestly, It was slow and soft. They missed tackles. They were so out of position so many different times. And
bad angles, and just not the Jimmys and Joes.
Right.
Too.
Yeah, and we'll see. I do think this is a respectable Notre Dame offense.
Absolutely.
They're definitely going to lean on the run and try to get it established, whether it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter. That's their game plan here. They're going to try to pound the rock and chip away at our defensive line. Once again, the same things that we do here at Georgia. So it really comes down to who's more physical on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, exactly right, man. Winning big SEC games, that's what we say the keys are. When you get in the playoffs, same thing.
Yeah.
And I think, man, you got to feel good about that. You might, if we were just very thin at DL right now, you would think, golly, that's a little bit nerve-wracking. Hope they don't wear us down and we start giving up some big gashes on the ground late in the second half or in the second half. But, man, right now I think our defensive line is the healthiest it's been since camp.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. That's
really
very
good thing.
exciting. Overall, outside the quarterback and punting position, the running back room I think is the healthiest it's been. And I know we just got some bad news on a guy that we'll talk about later. But I think you got to feel good on the defense side of the football from a health standpoint where this group is. And you can't not, even though I have red and black glasses on, look at this matchup and not feel, you got to respect Notre Dame. They can beat you, but. Man, looking at it, you just got to think, man, this plays well for what Georgia historically has done against these type of offenses, man, in these games, and you got to feel good about it.
Yeah. Well, 3 more things. You're not going to beat Kirby Smart playing one-dimensional offense football. You're not.
No.
So if you can take away the run game, I think Georgia's got this in the bag. I think another thing that's really going to help Georgia is getting this Notre Dame team in third and longs.
Yeah.
The reason being Notre Dame ranks 87th in football, FBS, in third down conversion.
Awesome.
So
awesome, do it, baby.
Pin your ears back, get after the quarterback. That's what we do best here at Georgia, especially this year. I mean, and I really think we're hitting our stride.
Exactly.
Off the edge and everything, and getting home.
Doesn't it feel like the defense, especially the front seven's peaking at the right time?
Yeah. Finally.
Yeah. I agree.
And when you can play well up front, man, it just makes life so much easier for your linebackers, especially for the secondary.
Especially secondary.
Your whole team just plays better when your line plays better up front.
Especially for a secondary who's, has some a little bit of woes this year. I mean, even though I feel like Dalen Everett had a heck of a game, I think Malachi Starks, a lot of people talking about him, like, why has he not had he's been asked to play out of position, what his natural position is, I feel like. And but overall, man, I'm very confident about this whole defensive unit against this particular offense. I can't say it enough that as a Georgia fan, I could be eating crow. It's going to be recorded, but right now, just logically looking at it, red and black glasses or not, you can't help but not feel confident against this Notre Dame personnel versus Georgia's and the health that Georgia is right now. And that, Clark, I think, is why it was so big to win the SEC championship, to have that extra week of rest, but also not risk having to get on the field again and risk more injury as well. So you look at all them factors, man, and you got to just feel good about where Georgia's defensive unit is. And Will Muschamp be on the sideline as well.
Oh, that'd be great. Man, that would be so good. Let's go to the other side of the football. Notre Dame's defense versus Georgia's offense. We haven't actually announced this on the podcast. I mean, everybody knows this by now, but Carson is out for the year. Let's just take a moment. I do want to say that I am very appreciative of Carson Beck and his time and what he's put in here. It's not to say he's done here officially, although he could be.
He's done.
He's probably. But regardless, I do appreciate Carson and, once again, what he's done for this program. He stuck it out. He did it the right way. He played his best football, and some folks don't think that's the case, but it is. It's not like he went out there and didn't try to be his best and, win games. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, man. I know I was really hard on him after the Ole Miss game, and but overall, really appreciate what he did last year, what he's done this year, and gained a tremendous amount of respect for him coming in, handing the ball off to Trevor Etienne in the SEC championship game, and that puts him in great Georgia lore, I feel like, because he could have easily said, no, I can't go in and do that, put Pug or Rashada in,
Yeah.
And so him being able to do that, I think I gained a lot of respect for him. Like you said, Clark, I just hope he has a great NFL career, and I hope he decides if he's going to leave Georgia to go to the draft and not transfer anywhere else. But and I think he will, and I think hopefully he has a great NFL career, man. And hate how kind of this season's kind of gone in some senses. I mean, definitely not all his fault. And a majority of where he's at is not his fault, for sure, with how the receiving core's been this year. But yeah, I think you said it best, Clark.
And then Rod Robinson, another news. He is, I don't know if he's out for the season or what his deal is, but
poor kid can't catch a break.
Yeah, he's snake bitten. Gosh, I hate it for him as well.
Both the Robinson boys seem to be.
I know. Just when we thought he was getting healthy, this happens, man. I hate it for that kid or any kid that gets hurt.
That's right, man. That's right. But, at least now you get ETN, I think, is playing even better in the sense of more confident in where his health is right now. Nate Frazier, of course, is just improving more and more every single practice. So, even though we did lose Rod Robinson, man, Chauncey Bowens, good to go. Dwight Phillips, good to go. So, I feel good about where the running back room is, even though I hate losing Rod Robinson more for just him personally.
This Notre Dame defense is pretty daggone good. First in the nation in team passing efficiency defense. First in turnovers gained. They have gotten 29. They're also first in turnover margin.
Yeah.
First in defensive touchdowns. When they get the ball, they score it. And then third in scoring defense, only giving up 13.8 average per game. It's pretty stout. Yeah. Now, once again, you could argue, well, who have they played?
Right.
And I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at it, man. When you're looking at the secondary numbers like that, who have they played, Clark? Two of their biggest ranked matchups been?
Army and Navy, yeah.
What is Army and Navy's offensive philosophy? Unless it's changed a lot since. I know Army's had with Jeff Monken, but I know Navy's got a new coach. But I know Army still runs the flex bone, right? Mm-hmm. And Navy, I don't think runs the flex bone entirely, but I mean they're primarily just going to put the ball on the ground. And I felt like if you're looking at it, USC had a lot of success through the air against Notre Dame in their last game of the regular season against them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, then you look at Indiana. one of the best teams.
That's right.
In the nation,
Good
I
point.
think, in terms of passing, and they shut them down. So
Great point, Clark. I
don't know.
That's a good devil's advocate, yeah. So I mean, I think it's a respectable Notre Dame defense for sure. But can you really just until they play Georgia? And I could eat crow until they play Georgia. We'll see.
just like Georgia, they've been battling injuries this entire season. They've had four defensive starters out with season-ending injuries. And then the last game, if y'all are watching, they lost Riley Mills, their senior captain, number 98-9, out for the season. He led the team in both sacks and tackles for loss. Hate it for that kid, man.
Yeah, man.
Terrible injury there in the Indiana game. And, yeah, I mean, this kid, he was a big, literally and figuratively, factor in this defensive front. I think without them, it's next man up mentality there as well as it is anywhere else in the nation. But without him, man, I think that's a blow.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, he was definitely there. I think he was a team captain, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think he had the captain patch on in that Indiana game. So you hate seeing that. That is not something that we're happy to see whatsoever. We want Notre Dame at their best, just like we want Georgia at our best, man. And but that's again, like I alluded to earlier, one of the reasons why you want to win the SEC championship and get that first round bye, man. And so you hate seeing that, but very respectable Notre Dame defense. Marcus Freeman, great defensive mind, man. Was at Cincinnati and learned under Luke Fickell, for a while there. So, I mean, Georgia's got to execute on offense, but again, I feel like it's a defense still that you can move the ball against if Georgia executes like they're supposed to do with a good game plan.
They do create a ton of turnovers, like I mentioned. Secondary is led by a guy named Xavier Watts. He's their senior safety, number 0. This kid is a ball hawk. He's had 13 interceptions in the past 2 seasons. That's crazy, man. Yeah, and it's not just, he's picking off balls left and right. Man, he will come down and he'll hit you. And he's a good player out in open space. So you got to watch out for him and, yeah.
Well, random question. What is Notre Dame's total in the nation in run defense?
I don't know if I have that stat. Why? Why do you ask?
I would just like to know where they're at in that. I mean,
not sure.
I don't know if they're in the top 50 or top let's see.
They're probably, if I had to take a guess right now, they're top 15.
Let me just check real quick. You continue if you want to. That's a stat I just want to know.
All right. Well, Notre Dame is going to make Gunner definitely beat them with his arm. There's no doubt about it. They do run a 4-3 defense, meaning they're going to probably commit, more guys to the run. They trust their defensive linemen, and then, just to get after the quarterback. And so if you're Georgia here, you have to stretch Notre Dame horizontally. And that's what we've been doing a lot of this year. You're seeing a lot of screens, a lot of tunnel screens. I think that actually helps in some ways. You got to get your stretch game with ETN, with these guys out on the edge, get them off tackle, run the football, baby. And then once you kind of spread them out, that's when you go inside zone. And, hey, don't be shocked, and I'm sure most of y'all won't be, but don't be shocked when you see Gunner Stockton keep it a couple times and some design quarterback draws. That's going to be fun to watch.
I think Clark, a lot of 12 personnel on the field. 2 tight end sets, man, especially with how Lucky and Delt's been playing of late, man. And like I think you said, a lot of quarterback power, a lot of bootleg out and stuff. And I'm excited to see. Hopefully, quick perimeter passes, screens that we've seen all year. It'll be another asset of the run game. And maybe can run the football enough to set up some play action stuff and Gunner get a few shots down the field.
Speaking of Gunner, everybody's kind of a little concerned, and rightfully so. I'm not.
I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not. I mean, obviously you want to have Carson Beck still there. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, man, I'm glad Beck's injured because I want Gunner Stockton on the field. No.
I'm not saying that.
No, not at all. You're not saying that. I'm not saying that. But it's been out there. Word's been out there.
Yeah.
But
I will say, and Josh Pate said this, there's been some pundits out there that have said this, but when a backup comes in and steps up and goes in to play, it sort of elevates everybody's level of play. It really does. And one quick anecdote to that, Phoenix Roberts.
Give us an anecdote.
Shout out to Phoenix Roberts, stepped in for Tyreek David. This was Franklin County High School football here, my senior year. We were playing West Hall in 2014. Adam, we did lose that game. All right. But wait a minute.
If it don't end with a win, Clark.
But wait a minute. We were playing the best team in the region. We weren't just great that year or anything. They were the best team in the region, no doubt. But everybody played with a little extra oomph. A little extra pep in our step and a little bit of fire, because this team hadn't given up, this West Hall team hadn't given up a touchdown, or maybe it was 3 total touchdowns up until that game that we played them, which was 7 games into the season. So 3 touchdowns was given up. And, hey, we scored 2 in the first half. So it was a big moment, you know? And, I mean, it was great. Had the game ended in the first half, we would have won. Yeah. It was the first time we took a lead into halftime, I feel like, that whole year. So
too bad you got to play 4 quarters.
I know.
Too bad you got to play. You still got to play 4 quarters in American tackle football, baby.
Yeah, but my point is, everybody does seem to step up and play a little bit better. When you got a kid who is a little bit more inexperienced coming in to start.
Especially if the team likes the backup quarterback. Not saying that they don't like him more than the start quarterback, but you could tell people like Gunner. That's no slight to Carson Beck, man. Mm-hmm. I love Gunner Stockton. I read an article about Gunner Stockton. You know, I talked about Georgia quarterbacks I could sit down and have a chat with.
Yeah. You think Gunner would be one of them?
You dang right. I read that article today, and I've already heard of the stuff about him. Rural Northeast Georgia kid. Obviously, I'm biased about that.
Now, hold up. He's a Ford guy, Adam.
I saw that. I could overlook that. But he drives an old square body Ford, F-150, rather it be a square body Chevrolet. But still, I mean, a kid that I'm not going to say it. But a kid that rather you drive that pickup truck, old F-150 like that.
The Lambo.
Yep. But I just nothing against it, because some other people rather have their quarterback drive a Lambo, and that's fine too. But just me personally, I got the microphone right now. I'm going to say what I prefer. Mm-hmm. That. Rural Northeast Georgia, man. Did you see the businesses in Rabun County getting behind him? Oh, man. Like all over Rabun County up in Clayton and Tiger, Georgia right now. And it's special to us because it's close to us up here in Northeast Georgia, rural Northeast Georgia. Get behind their boy, man. He asked for cows for Christmas one year.
Are you serious?
He wanted some cattle. I love that. His dad got beat by the police in the Between the Hoses game in 1986 at Auburn, Alabama.
Oh, really?
Not his dad, his granddaddy. His granddaddy did. Yes. I lied about it to the family. The family figured it out later on that saw a picture where he was getting beat by the police because he was on the field and got in an altercation with Auburn police.
Was that the Barner game? Was that the game where they talked about? Or no, that was
Between the Hoses. That's the one where the Georgia fan, and put.
But I'm saying, what game was the one where there was an actual barn on fire outside of the stadium?
That was an Auburn LSU game. The library was on fire.
Okay,
and that's when Steve Spurrier said that that Auburn lost all their coloring books in the library.
Wow, that's good.
Or something along them lines. But
for some reason, I thought that was the same one as the '82 Auburn game.
No, the '82 Auburn game was Look at the Sugar Falling Out of the Sky. The '86 was Between the Hoses.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
'92, I think '92 was when they can't stop the clock. They can't stop the clock, and the clock ran out and Auburn had the ball in the one. But anyway, this is not an Auburn Georgia podcast. Or Georgia Auburn, rather. But anyway, his granddad, Clark, passed away in 2010 from a heart attack. This is what I read in the article, I think. I hope this is true. I hate that his granddad passed away, but passed away right after that 2010 Georgia-Florida game that went into overtime. That, we lost with a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he's a rural Northeast Georgia guy, Georgia boy. Nothing against Carson Beck. Not saying that at all. I'm behind Gunner Stockton. I don't care if he was from Los Angeles, I'd still be behind him. Yeah. But I mean, I love hearing that story. That article wrote about Gunner Stockton, what he is. That's my kind of guy right there. Let's go.
Yep, love it. He's a gamer, and he's clearly out to prove that he's the man for the job. Let's get behind him.
Yes, sir.
And go Dogs. All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else about the offense?
No, man. I mean, just the offense. Like I said, just run the football. I'm excited about how healthy the offensive line is. I think we're going to have Freeland back at left tackle, Ernest Green rotating at right tackle with Xavier Truss. And, I'm excited to see what kind of wrinkles are with Gunner Stockton. I mean, you think about Gunner Stockton, last thing I'm going to say, then let's move on, is – people say, we hadn't took no snaps this year. Clark, he was thrown down in the SEC championships against one of the toughest front sevens or defensive period in the nation, man, and came out there and did what he did against them, man. And, that says a lot right there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think he definitely bought some respect and trust from the players and his teammates. That's big. All right, final thoughts. It does worry me a little bit, Adam, that we've been sitting around for a few weeks here while other teams get real live game reps. Yes, we got to rest, but I do think momentum helps Notre Dame right now. And I know that sounds crazy, but they're on the field, they're working out kinks, they get live reps once again. That's critical if you could stay healthy and not get just totally obliterated or anything. I think that does factor into this. Notre Dame is a well-coached team, despite their lone loss to Northern Illinois. I have no idea how that happened. I don't think they still do. But it doesn't matter at this point. They're in the playoff. They're where they want to be. It just goes to show, college football, man, you can start week one a certain way and finish it a different way.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about this. Just like Georgia, I think we're a different team than we were week two and even week one.
Right.
But all that to say, I don't think, and we've said this already, I don't think they've been tested. No. Georgia is battle tested. Right. Notre Dame has literally played one game against a current AP top 20 opponent. Yeah. Georgia has played 6 games against a current AP top 20 opponent.
That's right.
I don't know. I think that has to count for something, right?
That's right, man.
But this is going to be a low-scoring defense slugfest in my mind. Very physical, very bloody kind of game. The team with a better run game and the least mistakes is going to win this one. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. I think you look at the team who has the most rushing yards in the game is going to win the football game, and the turnover margin, and like you said, leading the team in rushing. So, like you said, it's going to be one on the line of scrimmage with two teams with the same team philosophy as far as, wanting to just out-physical the other team. And I like it when Georgia gets in these games against teams that want to just try to out-Georgia.
Yeah. That's a good quote right there.
Yeah. I like it.
Sorry, I burped. All right, moving on. We got 3 more quarterfinal games this upcoming week.
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to give you guys a score prediction versus Notre Dame at the end to wrap this thing up. All right, very quickly here, Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, we got number 3 Boise State versus number 6 Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl, 7:30 ESPN. Boise State is favored by 11 points.
What?
Wait, is that right?
No.
I think it's the other way around.
Plus 11.
Sorry.
I said, do what?
Yeah.
I said, I'm actually going to bet on something then. If that's the case.
My bad. I definitely put that on the wrong side.
You'll have that. You'll have that.
My bad. Yes, Penn State is favored by 11 over Boise State.
I have to get me a bookie then for the first time in history.
Ever.
If that's the case.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Adam, what do you like here?
I think the Ashton Gente kid, is that how you pronounce his name? Gente. I like that guy. Humble guy, it seemed like, from the old Heisman. Wore his team gear, the Heisman gear.
That's
didn't
nice.
forget where he came from.
Right,
I like that.
Right.
I really like that guy. And but I don't think they're going to beat Penn State, man. I think Penn State, one of James Franklin's better teams he's had. And I just feel like Penn State is going to beat Boise State. And I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it would just be a blowout, though.
Yeah.
But I don't know, really, to be honest with you. I really hadn't seen either team play a complete football game this year because I didn't watch all of the Penn State SMU game.
Right. Ooh. Man, I think Gente keeps them in this game. Boise State took Oregon down to the
That's
wire.
a great point, Clark. That's a great point.
Give me
Eugene.
Give me Penn State to win, but dadgummit, it's going to be a 3-point game. It's going to be a lot closer than I think people think.
Yeah, I agree. It'll definitely be a 4-quarter game. Like us wanting to see good college football games, I think we're going to see some this round.
For sure. And then the winner of that one goes on to play the winner of Georgia Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl.
That's hard to fathom, man, that that we're not playing right now against Notre Dame for a chance to go to the national championship. There's still another step.
I know.
We got to probably play another historic team and another historic bowl game
to another
again, and then got to play another historic team in a national championship game. It's
wild. Crazy stuff.
I love it.
All right, Wednesday, January 1st, New Year's Day. We got number 4 Arizona State versus number 5 Texas in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, man.
This is a 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time kick on ESPN. Texas is favored by 13.5. Who do you like here, Adam?
I don't know much about Arizona State, but I do know, to whatever their capability is, Kenny Dillingham has got them humming at the highest potential. late in the season that they have. I mean, just blowing people out. But yes, look at the opponents again. But as far as playing to, I think their ceiling, Arizona State's playing at it. But alluding to what you just said earlier, talking about Georgia Notre Dame, Arizona State's been sitting around at the house since December 7th, after they blew out Iowa State in the Big 12 championship. So that's kind of that just momentum that they captured there at the back part of the season against like BYU and some of those other teams. Is it going to kind of wear off a little bit? But again, I don't know. I think Arizona State has done good. I think Kenny Dillingham's a good coach, and they're going to do some NIL stuff, man, and I think be competitive for a few years in the Big 12. And but I do not think – I think Texas is going to be too much for them. I think Texas front seven is going to be too much for them, and Texas wins this game fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they cover Texas. 13 and a half is a big spread, I think, even for Texas. But, yeah, I think Texas's B- game still probably beats Arizona State's
by 10 or so. Yeah.
A+ game,
Yeah.
maybe not by 10, but I still think it wins. And Texas' strength is stopping the run, as long as it's not Georgia.
Yeah. Did you know the Scatterbo kid? He's pretty confident in himself.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the interviews of him saying that he's the best running back in the nation, best player in the nation? Well, let's see it. Let's see against that Texas front seven what he does, man.
Great opportunity to showcase that.
And I think Texas is going to gash him on the ground for their very balanced attack and put up some points.
Mm-hmm. All right, number 1, Oregon. Oh,
sorry, get in price at the Peach Bowl, $33 playoff game.
It's going to be cheaper than that when the game kicks off.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that. Golly.
Anyway.
Number 1, Oregon versus number 8, Ohio State. We get a rematch, baby. Ohio State favored by 2 in the Rose Bowl, 5:00 p.m. ESPN. Man, this is going to be a fun one to watch. And, Adam, I'm not going to the Sugar Bowl. This is going to break a streak of about 30. I mentioned that last episode. But I am glad, silver lining here, I will be able to watch this in its full glory on TV and see this one. Because this one's going to be a great game.
No, that will be fun for you to be able to sit down and watch. This is going to be a great game, man. I guarantee you the get-in price is more than $33 for this game. But, now 2 Big Ten teams, man. A great storyline on both sides. A rematch, like you said, Clark alluded to. Historic match in the Rose Bowl. Hopefully it's a beautiful day in Pasadena. Man, that's a special venue. Being able to go there and actually see it in person makes you appreciate it even more and realize just how historic that game is. But Clark, I'll tell you who I'm going to pick.
Who's that?
Give me Ohio State, man.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Avenging their loss that they had in Eugene, heartbreaker earlier in the year. I just think Ohio State is going to win.
I'll be honest, and I know this sounds crazy. I think we match up a little better against Ohio State than we would Oregon.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel scares me a little bit more than Will Howard does.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no disrespect to Will Howard. He played a great game the other night. But in terms of just pure dual threat, Dylan Gabriel.
Our defense against our offense, I agree.
No, yeah, 100%.
Now, Ohio State's got stacked defense.
They do.
And Oregon's, they're not obviously not bad defensively. But, yeah, go ahead.
Adam, I think Oregon's going to win this one. I do. It's going to be a rock fight. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, sure.
They're going to just stone each other on the line of scrimmage, I think. I don't even know if this is going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Although both of them have very explosive offenses, both of them have very explosive defenses. I think this is the most balanced in terms of opponents games go that we're going to see.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. But give me Oregon to win. Dan Lanning. I would rather pull for him than Ryan Day. I don't want people to think either that earlier in the show they were probably like, God, does he like Ohio State? No, I hate Ohio State. But I hate Tennessee even more. So anyway, that's why we were pulling for Ohio State. All right, Adam. And then the winner of that goes on to play the Peach Bowl. The winner of the Peach Bowl in the Cotton Bowl.
That's going to be a good game.
That'll be a great game.
Texas probably against one of them two, man.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, a lot of football still left.
Yeah. Well, folks,
tough hurdles.
We have finally made it to the end of this one.
Yes,
It's 12:03 a.m.
Is it really?
December 28th.
All right, let's go.
Just a few days out from the Sugar Bowl. Going to be a great time. Adam, you're going to get the boots on the ground coverage.
Yeah. Hey, for the first time in Row 60 history, it is just me at a game. There's been some games since I have become a father that I've had to miss, that Clark has took you along by himself. And now that Clark is about to become a father, he's going to have to miss this game. So I'm going to go. I will be talking with Clark about how to use the technology to give, make sure we have good boots on the ground report. But follow me along at the Sugar Bowl. I will be giving updates on our Patreon page and, of course, the Row 60 Facebook. So I'll be doing some live streaming.
It's gonna be great.
Doing all that good fun stuff.
I can't wait to see what you're gonna get.
Oh, I'm gonna cook something up. Man,
Are you gonna go live?
I got some big boots to fill on this thing for sure.
Man.
So yeah, I'm definitely going live for the people.
Perfect.
Oh,
Well, I'll walk you through
multiple times.
You got this.
Multiple times.
Oh my!
And I'm sure you'll be in the chat to talk it up
for sure.
Then, so.
Well, hey guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and don't ever miss another video.
That's right.
All right, let's go to a score prediction here. Georgia versus Notre Dame. It's going to be great. Just a legendary matchup right here.
Yes, it is, man. God, it gives me chills thinking about it.
Two great teams for a chance to move on in this college football playoff. Adam, I'm going to go with a vintage score right here because I do think this is going to be a very low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I'm going back to 1981.
Give it to me, baby.
17-10,
Yes,
Dogs
sir,
on
man.
top by 7 points.
Love that, man. Wouldn't that
I'm
be
sticking
something?
to it.
Wouldn't that be something if Georgia beat Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl again, 17-10?
That would be sweet.
God, history full circle, baby. Clark, I love that. So advanced in the Orange Bowl. Big, another playoff win under Kirby Smart's belt, man. I mean, golly, you have to pinch yourself for that. We are, again, another playoff run for Georgia. This is now Kirby Smart's fourth playoff. At the University of Georgia. Hard to believe when Georgia started this run in 17, playing Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl. The excitement around that first playoff game, to see how much we have seen since that afternoon in Pasadena, California. Don't take it for granted, folks, because all good things come to an end, whether it's where college football goes and Kirby Smart retires or just whatever happens, man. College football is so unpredictable now. That's why I say, and I've said it, and people are tired of listening to this podcast and hearing me say it, because one day you're going to look back and be, man, these are good times. So savor the moment and enjoy every second of it right now. Clark, we went to South Bend, Indiana in 2017. I hated Notre Dame when I was flying to Chicago. I was like, this is perfect. I cannot stand Notre Dame. The mystique of just the nationwide just persona of Notre Dame fans, man. Everybody in the nation, Notre Dame this, Notre Dame, the Rudy, all this stuff, man. Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus, the play like a champion. I didn't like it. But then I went to the stadium, man, and I mingled with the Notre Dame faithful. They treated us well. And I had a newfound respect for Notre Dame fans that day, the ones that, we rubbed elbows with in South Bend, Indiana. I was like, well, I like them a little bit. But I don't like them that much, Clark. Georgia's undefeated against Notre Dame. Notre Dame is the America just darling. Everybody, the whole Catholic Church around Notre Dame, man. I mean, historic program, won a lot of games, man. Have not won a national championship since 1988. Lou Holtz, Dan Devine, Rudy. You just think about the prestige of Notre Dame and the opportunity, national television, the whole nation at 8:45 staying up New Year's night to watch your Georgia Bulldogs, the villain of college football now that Nick Saban is gone, against just the love affair of Marcus Freeman's Notre Dame. The whole nation will be against the University of Georgia Wednesday night in New Orleans, Louisiana, man. It doesn't set up any more perfect than playing a blue blood like Notre Dame. Let's make it 4-0 against Georgia, Notre Dame, baby. Georgia's going to win this football game 24-14 en route to another Orange Bowl against Penn State, man, and one more win closer to another national championship to make it 3 out of 4 years, man. We are living in the glory days again, Clark. Again, we get to say that Georgia's going to win a playoff football game. Ooh. I love it, baby. Join me. We'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana. If you're with Clark back here in the state of Georgia, around the nation with your red and black on, wear it every single day from now until Wednesday night, New Year's night, baby, because it's time to let the big dog eat and let people know that Georgia's the most elite program in the United States of America, baby. I love y'all. Go Dogs, baby. Hoo, 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 hoo.